What's up guys, CJ here and welcome back to a very special Rogue One video, a rundown and breakdown of all the Easter eggs that we here at the Hybrid Network could find in the movie. This movie was just chock full of Easter eggs and callbacks, and there may be even more to be found after the fact, so if we missed anything, let us know. But without further ado, let's get started. In the very first scene, the little pastoral life interrupted on the run from the Empire, we see the legendary Star Wars blue milk on the table, a little callback to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru's favorite drink of choice on Tatooine. And you know, it's a small Easter egg, but we gotta start slow, right? One of the central locations of the movie, Jeddah, did not have much in the way of Easter eggs, or nearly as much as the rest of the movie, but there were still some big ones, especially for fans of the EU. One such reference is to the Wills, an ancient order of deeply spiritual Force shamans. In the old extended universe lore, Qui-Gon actually learned how to escape death and become one with the Force after studying with this sect. Chirrut and Baze are both former guardians of the Wills, and while that's not explained in the movie, it's very likely that they were either students of the Order or two of the Order's protectors before the Empire came to Jeddah. But the movie's most obvious Easter egg on Jeddah comes during Jyn and Cassian's attempted escape from Jeddah City, as they bump into none other than Mos Eisley Cantina's very own Ponda Baba and Dr. Evazan. Notorious criminals and wanted pirates. If you'll remember, Evazan had the death sentence on 12 systems. They must have managed to escape Jeddah City's destruction and made their way to Tatooine. One of the movie's biggest and most impactful Easter eggs is Forrest Whitaker's Saw Gerrera. He's the first character in the Star Wars universe to make the jump from an animated series, in this case the Clone Wars, to film. One of my personal favorite Easter eggs in the movie has to be Vaders Castle, the black-walled tower hideaway where Krennic seeks an audience with the Dark Lord himself. This is a huge EU Easter egg, as the fortress appeared in the Dark Empire comics, games like Elite Squadron, and of course Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, and was actually designed by Ralph McQuarrie for Episode 5. In the EU, the castle was located on the barren planet of Bast, where acid rain fell constantly, but in the new canon it's located much more tragically on Mustafar, the lava planet where Anakin fell to his master Obi-Wan, lost his limbs, and truly became Darth Vader. But sticking in the Imperial vein for a second, one of the biggest throwbacks in the movie has to be the CGI recreation of Grand Moff Tarkin, who not only appears in the movie, but plays a pretty pivotal role, both taking command of the project and acting as an antagonist for director Krennic. The gaunt, steely Tarkin, of course, first appeared in Episode 4, played by legendary British actor Peter Cushing, who passed away in 1994 at the age of 81. Using the same technology, we see a CG version of Leia Organa in the movie's final scene, set literally just minutes before the opening of Episode 4. A good chunk of the movie takes place on Yavin 4, the secret base of the Rebels and the HQ they launched their ultimately successful attack on the Death Star from. With that comes some cool callbacks, like the radar gun dude on the tower, who makes an appearance not once, but twice. It's on Yavin 4 that we also see some familiar faces, from Genevieve O'Reilly's younger version of Mon Mothma, who was first seen in Episode 6, to General Dodonna, the rebel leader who planned the attack on the Death Star in Episode 4. And in this movie, Yavin 4 is really the gift that keeps on giving, as we see Jimmy Smits reprise his prequel trilogy role as former Senator Bail Organa, the adopted father of Princess Leia. In the movie, Smits is actually a pretty active leader in the rebellion and plays a behind-the-scenes but pivotal role in getting the plans to Leia, who has them in Episode 4. He also hands out a pretty covert Obi-Wan Kenobi line that fans probably caught, discussing his hidden Jedi friend with Mon Mothma. It's on Yavin as well that C-3PO and R2-D2 also appear, and this wasn't a subtle one either, as 3PO laments how nobody tells him anything and R2 seems to beep in approval, or disapproval, or maybe even apathy. There's also a little Star Wars Rebels Easter egg on Yavin as well, as when Cassian reveals his Rebel Strike Squad for the operation on Scarif, you can hear the announcer on the speaker in the background call for a General Syndulla, which seems to be a reference to Hera. Speaking of Hera and Star Wars Rebels, there's a bigger, more noticeable Easter egg in the epic final space battle. As the Rebel fleet drops out of hyperspace and into battle over Scarif, we see a certain freighter turned warship flying with them, the Ghost. We also see it later in the film when the fleet is escaping, suggesting that the merry band of rebels live to fight another day and might just be running around somewhere in the original trilogy. There's also a reference to a Project Blacksaber when Jyn and Cassian are scanning the archives on Scarif for the Death Star plans, which is potentially a reference to Clone Wars and Rebels' Darksaber, a black-bladed lightsaber and Mandalorian relic. But my favorite Easter egg of all I saved for last. If you look carefully in that final space battle at the fighter pilots, you'll see two don't quite look as sharp and defined as their colleagues. That's because via the movie magic of visual effects, Rogue One actually resurrected the original red and gold leaders from Episode 4 to play roles in that incredible sequence. That's Angus McKines, aka Gold Leader, and Drew Henley, Red Leader, who sadly passed away earlier this year. But while the footage shown all seems to be old Episode 4 clips of them, reportedly they also brought back the original actors for voice lines before Henley's passing. And those are all the Easter eggs that I could spot, but on further and probably repeated viewings, who knows, I might find more. And these are one of the biggest reasons why I loved the film as much as I did. It was really a movie for the fans, clearly made by fans, and that just shows in the sheer amount of work they did to fit in these references and callbacks, often kind of seamlessly. And overall, Rogue One just feels like it lives in that Star Wars universe, and by watching it, we were just completely immersed in that world for a little over 2 hours. So let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite Easter egg was and what you thought of the movie, but that's going to do it for me here. Don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw and subscribe for more great content every single day. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.